I'm David Buggy. I'm recently have a new role in energy management in GB&I. I'm responsible for organisational change. I wanted to make a short video, 4 or 5 minutes, just to kind of introduce myself, tell you a little bit about me and my background, and also a little bit about what I understand by organisational change. So I joined Siemens about 20 years ago, back in 1998, did a degree in mechanical engineering and went straight from college into Siemens. I went to Germany first, to Frankfurt. Offenbach was the office. Worked there for a while, and then I was sent off to my first project in Pakistan. And the department I worked for was called Mechanical Commissioning, and we were the, I guess, the guys who built the big power stations. So my job was to live and work in different countries around the world building power stations. So I lived in a few different places: Pakistan, Iran, Argentina, and I was doing commissioning, and I stayed for quite a while in Argentina, about 2 years. I was the warranty engineer on a big combined cycle power plant with lots of challenges. It was a new type of gas turbine, and I stayed behind to take care of it, along with around 25 people from Siemens Argentina. We took care of the plant. So after that, I lived in the UK, in Bristol. I was a commissioning engineer on a power plant called Seabank Module 2. And I went from there into the service business. I went to Egypt, where I worked in a place called Midlek, which was in Alexandria. After Egypt, I lived in the United States. I lived in Connecticut for 3 years. Spent a lot of time down in Orlando as well at the head office for power generation. And I was running a power station at that time, so I kind of fully moved into service. And while I was there, I started receiving kind of technical reports from Orlando. They were monitoring our power plant in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I was receiving reports. I got interested in that. So I moved to Germany then and spent 3.5 years in the German office in Mülheim an der Ruhr, doing power diagnostics. So that was over 10 years ago, but I suppose a lot of the things we talk about now as digitalization, we were starting to do those things 10-15 years ago in PG. So after that, I came closer to home, and really for the last 7 or 8 years I've been moving around the UK and Ireland in different roles. I spent a few years living in Newcastle, working in the service wind business, and more recently then I've moved back to Dublin. And along all of those travels, I got married, had a daughter, Kira, beside me here, and a son, Jack. So we're living back in Dublin now. And so that means I travel quite a bit, but to be honest, I'm pretty used to it at this stage. Right, so that's really all I have to say about me. Kira, you said you had a few questions, did you?
Wait. I didn't know you had a new job. I thought you were just like working the same kind of stuff. Like, what's the new job about?
It's to do with organisational change, and I'm working now with Alison Pierce, Caro Noone, Jerry Key and Terry Preston, and the 5 of us are really the kind of organisational change team now. So that's my new job.
Okay. So what groups are you exactly working with then?
Well, we work with the senior management team in energy management. It's important we stay connected to them. They provide the resources and the space for us to do the work, and they're also interested in improving the organisation, and they collectively own really the strategy. So we work with them, and then also we work with varied groups in the organisation, groups that really, I suppose, locally have decided that they need to change in some way or work in some new way. They're the groups that we want to work with, get close to, and support going through a journey of change.
Okay. Wait, so are you saying that with all the experts that Siemens have, they can't do this by themselves?
I think they probably could over time. Given enough time, Siemens does change. So we're always really changing, and I think the question is, are we changing fast enough? And I think some of the skills and the techniques that myself and the rest of the team can bring in can help accelerate the change in our organisation.
Okay, there's so much going on in the world. How do you know what to concentrate on then?
Well, we're really guided by our Grow to One strategy, which is based on what's happening in the markets and happening in the world. And you know, a year ago we got a large group of people together, about 120 people from energy management, to look at what was going on in the market and to come up with 6 key themes and 4 enablers, and they guide the work that we do.
So, are you guys going to figure out the answers to these things and tell people how to work differently?
Not at all. That's that sounds maybe quite attractive, but telling people what to do rarely helps people to change, especially when the situation is complex and you need to learn how to do new things. So our role isn't really to do much telling at all. It's to help groups kind of have new conversations, to think of new ways of working, and to help them with the first steps in working in those new ways.
But how is changing the conversation going to help?
Well, we are creatures of habit as humans, and we get into patterns that you know, are effective for us. You know, the way we work, the way we think about things, we're often following a pattern that's become familiar, and that helps us to be effective and efficient, but it also limits our ability to think of new things. So a lot of what we're doing when we're trying to change the conversation is really change what are the underlying assumptions and the thinking that people have. And when you start to do that, you create the possibility for new action.
Okay, can you please help me with my homework now?
Yeah, I will. But before I do, I'll just say thanks very much to everyone for listening to this. I really appreciate it. I'll try and use video, and I think the team that I'm working with will try and use video more and more. And look forward to connecting with you soon. Take care. Bye bye.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
You've got the hiccups.
I'm gonna go get a glass of water now.